Hello, you are all welcome to this class. My name is Bernard Mugabe, just call me Teacher Ben. I'll be taking you in science for some time, as your teacher for science is not with you at the moment. I don't know how much you had gone with the units, but I've decided to start with Unit 6, and that's about waves. That's what we shall be learning about. Waves. In this lesson, I expect you to define what waves are, their behavior, and their classes or classification of waves. So that's what you are expected to do in this video today. Okay, so we shall straight go to define what a wave is. A wave is a periodic disturbance of particles of an area. Periodic disturbance of particles of an area. Some of you are good at swimming. You like going to the beaches and you swim. Now there are times when you see that water is moving up and down, up and down, up and down. That's what we call a wave. Okay, it's a periodic disturbance of particles of an area. So that's what a wave is. Waves are transferred from one place to another without transferring the media. Okay, waves move from one place to another without transferring the media. What do I mean to say is that water, like if I take an example of water, when wind blows along the sea, water starts moving up and then it comes down. It moves up and then it comes down. But it doesn't mean that that water is being taken away. In this case, the sea becomes the media. So waves move from one place to another without transferring the media. Okay, let's look at the properties of waves, or the behavior of waves, or you can go the basic parts of a wave, and so on. Properties of waves are about 4 or 5. One of them is the frequency. Frequency itself, in terms of waves, means a measure of how many waves pass a point in a certain amount of time. Let's say in 1 minute, how many waves have passed point X within that 1 minute. Okay. If I was teaching you mathematics, I would say that frequency is the number of times an event takes place, an event occurs. So how many times has a wave passed a point in a certain period of time? The higher the frequency, the closer the waves are together. So if the frequency is high, then the closer the waves are together. Okay, when the frequency is very high, the waves are together. Okay, and the greater the energy carried by the waves will be. Okay, that's very simple. Okay, let's look at another property. Other properties include things such as amplitude, and this is the measure of the distance between a line through which the middle of a wave and a crest or a trough. We shall have a diagram to show all this and you'll understand it better. Okay, amplitude is a measure or the distance between a line through the middle of a wave and a crust or a trough. We shall see what a trough is. We shall see what a crust is. The greater the force that produces a wave, the greater the amplitude of the wave, and the greater the energy carried by the wave. Okay. The highest point of a wave is called the crest. When a wave moves up like this, water splashes up. Before it turns down, it bends. So that point at which it's bending is what we are referring to as the crest. And the lowest point is called the trough. Now water goes up and then it comes down, then from down it goes up. So when it's climbing up, that point is what we call the trough. I told you we are going to have a diagram to see all this properly. In transverse waves, the higher the wave, the higher the amplitude. Sounds with greater amplitude will be louder. Light with greater amplitude will be brighter. And B. What's a trough? A trough is the lowest point of a wave. So that's that. Please take a note. Another property is the wavelength. Wavelength is a measure of the distance from the crust on one wave to the crust of the next wave. Okay, from one wave to another, there is that distance in between is what we are referring to as the wavelength. Don't worry, I told you we shall have a diagram to show or to see all these properly. Shorter wavelengths are influenced by their frequency. So if the wave is shorter, then just know that that is influenced because of the frequency. Higher frequencies, the higher the frequency, the higher or the greater the wavelength and the greater the energy. And B, please take a note. Wavelength is the distance between two consecutive crusts. So from one crust to another or from one trough to another is what we call the wavelength. The next one is speed. Speed is a measure of the distance a wave travels in the amount of time. What speed does it move within 1 second? What speed does it move within 1 hour? What speed does it move within a minute? That's what we are referring to as speed. The speed of a wave is determined by the type of wave and the nature of the media. Okay. I mean, if the wave, if let's say water is moving around the sea, it's not the same way as it will move when it meets a rock. So you can take that one as a very good example. The speed of a wave is determined by the type of wave and the nature of the media. As a wave enters a medium, the wave, the speed change. This means that waves travel at different speeds because of different media. When the media is maybe very small, maybe the media is very calm, the speed of the wave changes. All frequencies of electromagnetic waves travel at the same speed in an empty space. We shall see what are electromagnetic waves. So the diagram here shows us the parts of a wave. So I told you we can call them parts of a wave, we can call them properties of a wave, and so on. So we have the wave height, the wave crest, the wavelength, the trough, the wave trough, the amplitude, and you can see that line which is in the middle. That means that the waves are at rest. No movement at all when they are at that point. So here we are. Crest is the highest point of a wave. Look at this wave here. This point here, it goes like here up before it bends, before it starts bending. So this point is what we are referring to as the wave crest. And then it comes down. Now before it starts going up, this point down here is what we are referring to as the trough, or call it the wave trough. I told you about the wavelength from one point, this point, to this point. How do we call this point? It's a trough. Sorry, this is a crest. So from one crest to the next crest is what we call the wavelength, or from one trough to another trough. That's what we call a wavelength. Amplitude, the distance between. Okay, so that is it. Those are the properties of. Sometimes these properties, these parts can be called characteristics. So characteristics of a wave: 1. Wave crests, wave troughs, amplitude, wavelength, frequency, and speed. Those are the characteristics of a wave. We shall have to stop here for now. Hope to see you next time. Take care.